Hi, I'm delighted to be joined by Asher Rosen, the director of Small Gods. Welcome to Manchester Film Festival, Asher.
Thank you.
So tell us a bit about the project.
So Small Gods is a documentary fiction hybrid drama, and it's about the indigenous Batwa of southwestern Uganda. But it's not just about the Batwa, it's also about the people who come to visit them, people like myself, like yourself, from all around the world, and the quite complex relationship between their recent history and international forces that are moving through their part of the world.
Okay, and what was it that made you get involved in this story?
It was a bit of a long and winding road. It started out with a different project, which was an action movie about a wildlife ranger. And then that was in development for a while with some other directors, and when the opportunity to direct it came to me, my feeling was very much that I had to kind of step back and reorient into something where, not being from Uganda, I would make a more collaborative project. And so I went out to do research, and I spent a while living with the rangers, and the sort of element of the research that really stuck with me was my experiences with the Twa. And what I realized was that although wildlife, the combat around wildlife and wildlife tourism is a really important issue, actually there's these unseen human victims in the center of it, which are the people that live in these wildlife parks and to whom the parks have been home for hundreds of thousands of years. And I actually went on one of the tourist trails that you'll see in the film, basically as a tourist to do research. And I had this sense that behind the singing and the dancing and the sort of happy version of the reality that they're presenting to outsiders and tourists, perhaps there was a different story, there was something behind the curtain. So I started doing more research, getting to know them, and it was about a 10-year process. We made a short film which ended up at the César Academy in France and toured all around the world. It was with the same cast, and it's just sort of telling their story. And from the short film to the feature, we sort of evolved it collaboratively, working out what sort of fictional script would best mirror the documentary reality that they lived. Been kind of amazing seeing it finally come to life.
So none of the cast in it are sort of trained actors, they're all kind of playing themselves? And how was that working with a cast like that to make it feel real on screen?
It's such a privilege, it's a joy really. They're just giving so much, and they're bringing so much sort of historical accumulated truth, experienced truth in their performances. You know, it's just a gift every time you kind of say action. They are first-time actors in the traditional sense, but they're not first-time performers by any means. The film's about performance to a large extent. So Florence is a singer and a dancer, and Bizimana is sort of known all around the region for his impression, and also his dancing and his performances. So they're naturally performative people, and I think in that sense it felt like a kind of quite a natural next step from a lot of the work they'd already been doing, and they took to it, ducks to water.
And have you had a chance to show it in Uganda?
Yes, that was the first place we showed it. When we kind of finished the edit, we took it home to Kisoro. We did a local screening for the cast and the crew, and it was quite something. It was a very different sort of audience response than I think what you'd expect in Europe. It's quite a serious film in some ways. It's a very serious issue, and what we perhaps didn't expect is that the local audience found it, funny, thrilling, crying, shouting. It was a very sort of riotous response, and I think that's just because they hadn't seen their home on the big screen before. So every time Florence did something that was very much her character or something that she's very much liable to do, you have cackles from the audience and all her friends, just delighted to see it. So it was a really special screening, and the outcomes for them are quite atypical for the community, in that they've benefited quite a lot from the film. So they've become sort of pillars of their community in a way, and yeah, it's just kind of beautiful seeing that about a year on, having finished post and everything, that the impact's still very much there and alive.
I'm assuming the reaction today in Manchester was slightly different to that, but are you looking forward to having the screening here in Manchester at the Manchester Film Festival?
Yeah, hugely. Coming to a festival like this, you really feel independent film alive and well. This is the lifeblood of independent film, is festivals like this in cities like Manchester, so that film lovers in all parts of the country, in all parts of the world, can see films that it's becoming harder and harder to find. outside of these sort of festival experiences. So yeah, we're really grateful, really happy that we've got this screening here, and we hope we get a nice full audience of Manchester cinephiles to enjoy Small Gods.
Brilliant. Well, we'll keep finding these films and keep championing them for our audiences. It's been a delight to speak to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.